tgtf hub.
Is my first day at a new job, my first real job since finishing high school last year. It feels kind of surreal to be stepping into something like this. A job at some sprawling mansion outside the city, helping out with chores. It's not exactly what I had imagined for myself after graduating, but life doesn't always go the way you plan. I guess it's time to stop feeling like a kid and actually start doing something with myself. Besides, the place looked impressive from what I've seen, and who knows? Maybe this will turn out to be more interesting than I thought. The cab ride out here felt like it took forever. We left the city behind, trading skyscrapers and traffic for winding roads and endless fields. The mansion, I guess I should call it my workplace now, came into view as we rounded a hill, and I swear my jaw almost hit the floor. It was massive, with tall windows and ivy creeping up the sides like something out of a movie. The cab driver gave me a look when he dropped me off, like he wasn't sure if I'd been invited or if I'd just wandered here by mistake. From what I understand, I'll be staying here too, which only adds to the whole fresh start vibe. Let's hope this place lives up to whatever it's supposed to be. The massive door creaked open, and there she was. A vision I wasn't prepared for. A tall, curvy woman with long golden blonde hair and piercing blue eyes that seemed to catch the light in the dim entryway. She was dressed in a sleek black and white maid's uniform, the kind that looked both formal and impossibly flattering. For a second, I forgot how to breathe. "Welcome," she said, her voice warm and inviting. Her smile was genuine, like she was actually happy to see me. "You must be the new help. Come in, it's freezing out there." She stepped back, holding the door open wide as I shuffled inside, trying not to trip over my own feet. The warmth of the mansion wrapped around me immediately, along with a faint, calming scent of lavender. "I'm Sophia," she added, closing the door behind me with a soft click. "We've been waiting for you." Sophia smiled as she gestured for me to wait, disappearing through a nearby doorway. Moments later, she returned holding what I assumed was the uniform for the job. At least, that's what I thought. Until I got a closer look. My stomach dropped. She handed me a neatly folded black and white maid's outfit. Ruffles, lace, the works. I stared at it, my mind racing to process what I was looking at. This is the uniform?" I managed to stammer, my voice cracking slightly. Sophia tilted her head, her smile never wavering. "Of course. It's the dress code here," she said matter-of-factly, as if it was the most normal thing in the world. "Don't look so surprised. It's important for everyone to look polished and professional. Go ahead, get changed. I'll wait here, and we can carry on once you're ready." I couldn't tell if she was joking or serious, but the way her blue eyes sparkled suggested she was enjoying my reaction. My palms felt clammy as I looked back down at the frilly garment, trying to wrap my head around what I'd just gotten myself into. I stared at the uniform, my mind stumbling over itself. "Wait, hold on," I blurted, holding the frilly black and white dress at arm's length as if it might bite. "I'm a man. There's no way I'm supposed to wear this." Sophia raised an eyebrow, her smile growing just a little sharper. "And," she said, her tone light but carrying an unmistakable edge, "this is the required uniform for all staff. I'm sure you'll look just fine in it." I opened my mouth to protest again, but she held up a perfectly manicured finger to stop me. "Listen, sweetheart," she said with an air of practiced patience. "It's not about who you are. It's about the standards of the household. Everyone follows the dress code. No exceptions." Her words hung in the air as she crossed her arms and leaned slightly on one hip, clearly waiting for me to comply. I felt a knot tighten in my chest. "But," I started again, my voice faltering under her steady gaze. "No buts," she interrupted smoothly, her blue eyes practically pinning me in place. "Go on now. The quicker you get dressed, the quicker we can get started." Clutching the uniform awkwardly in my hands, I shuffled into the room Sophia pointed me toward. The door closed behind me with a soft click, leaving me alone with my thoughts and the ridiculous outfit. I stood there for a moment, staring at the frilly dress like it might somehow change into something less humiliating if I waited long enough. It didn't. I let out a long, frustrated sigh. This wasn't how I'd pictured my first job after high school. But finding work in this economy, nearly impossible. Jobs like this didn't just fall into your lap, and I couldn't afford to mess it up on my first day. I told myself it was just clothes, nothing more. I could survive the embarrassment if it meant keeping this job. With a deep breath, I started changing. The fabric felt strange and unfamiliar against my skin, and every step of getting into the uniform made me feel more and more ridiculous. By the time I caught a glimpse of myself in the mirror, I could feel my face burning with shame. I looked, well, like I didn't belong in this. But I couldn't exactly march back out there and quit, not when I'd barely started. Taking another steadying breath, I smoothed the skirt and told myself to suck it up. This was just part of the job, right? A soft knock on the door jolted me out of my spiraling thoughts. "Are you ready?" Sophia's voice called out, light and teasing, but somehow it felt like there was no room to refuse. I hesitated, staring at myself in the mirror one last time. My face was still flushed, but I forced myself to answer. Yeah, I guess," I said, my voice unsteady as I reached for the doorknob. The door creaked open, and Sophia's eyes lit up the moment she saw me. Her smile widened as she clasped her hands together. "Oh my," she exclaimed, practically beaming. "Aren't you just the cutest thing?" I felt my face heat up all over again. I don't know about that," I muttered, trying to avoid her gaze, but her amusement was impossible to ignore. She stepped closer, eyeing me critically, but with a playful sparkle in her eyes. She mused, tilting her head. "You're almost there, but we still need to make you a bit more presentable." Before I could ask what that meant, she turned and returned with a long, sleek black wig and a small makeup kit in hand. "Here we go," she said cheerfully, holding the wig up to my face like she was measuring it. "This will tie it all together, and don't worry, just a little makeup to bring out those features." "Wait, makeup?" I asked, my voice cracking slightly. But Sophia was already setting her tools on a small table nearby, her focus entirely on her new project, me. Sophia wasted no time. She gestured for me to sit on the small stool by the table, her grin practically glowing with excitement. "Sit still, sweetheart. This won't take long," she said, her tone far too casual for what was happening. I reluctantly sat, trying not to fidget as she started unpacking her makeup kit. "You have such lovely skin," she said, brushing her fingers lightly over my cheek. "This will be easy." I couldn't decide if that was a compliment or not, but before I could respond, she was already working. Foundation first, then a bit of blush. "Just a touch here," she murmured to herself, her hands quick and precise. When she leaned in to apply eyeliner, her face was so close I could feel the warmth of her breath. "You're doing great," she said, her voice soft but playful. Once she was done with the makeup, she picked up the long black wig and held it up triumphantly. "Now, for the finishing touch," she said, slipping it over my head and adjusting it carefully. She stepped back, tilting her head as she studied her work. "Perfect," she declared, clapping her hands together. "Absolutely adorable." I caught a glimpse of myself in the mirror and my heart nearly stopped. I looked different. Feminine. The makeup and wig transformed my face completely, and for a moment I didn't even recognize myself. Sophia leaned down to meet my eye level, her grin mischievous. "See? Not so bad, is it?" she teased, brushing a strand of the wig into place. "Now you're ready to make a proper impression." Sophia placed a tray in my hands, carefully balancing a polished silver teapot, a single delicate mug, and a small plate of biscuits. The weight of it wasn't much, but it felt like the heaviest thing I'd ever held. "This will be your first task," she said, her tone as sweet as sugar, but with just enough of an edge to remind me not to mess this up. "Take this to the master. He's in the study at the end of the hall, through the double doors." I blinked at her, my grip tightening on the tray. "The master?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. Sophia arched a perfectly sculpted brow. "Yes, the master," she repeated, her smile turning just slightly sharper. "And remember, you're still on probation. First impressions matter, so I suggest you do your absolute best." I nodded quickly, swallowing the lump in my throat. With every step down the long hallway, I felt my embarrassment grow. The soft swish of the skirt against my legs didn't help, nor did the reflection I caught in the polished glass of a cabinet along the way. I looked like someone else entirely. Reaching the heavy double doors, I hesitated, my heart pounding in my chest. I gripped the tray tightly, staring at the polished wood as if it might offer me some escape, but there was none. With a deep breath, I pushed the door open and stepped inside. The study was enormous, its walls lined with shelves full of leather-bound books, a large fireplace casting a warm glow across the room. At the center, seated in a high-backed chair near a mahogany desk, was the master. His presence was commanding, almost suffocating in its intensity. I lowered my eyes immediately, gripping the tray tightly as I approached. Master, I said, my voice trembling but obedient. I have brought your tea. As requested. My cheeks burned, and I tried not to focus on how small and foolish I felt standing there in the uniform. Carefully, I placed the tray on the small side table next to him, my hands shaking as I straightened up. Is there anything else you require, sir? I added softly, doing my best to keep my tone steady and respectful.
Thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you did, please consider subscribing to my channel, leaving a like and a comment, and make sure to visit my Patreon for more exclusive content. You can find all the links in the description below.